What is up, party people, or not party people, introverts, whatever. This is Lauren with Well Behaved Women, the show you're about to listen to right now. We are having a little fundraiser here at Well Behaved Women. So if you have the desire or the ability to give us a little donation to upgrade some of our equipment, we would be mighty thankful. And so you can go to any of our socials or our website and check out that GoFundMe. But for now, enjoy the show. Bye.
A well-behaved woman is trim and proper. Chores always done, not a hair out of place. When the husband comes home, she greets him with a smile.
I'm sorry, what the fuck?
Are you tired of Hitler?
I feel no shame.
Okay, one liar as a kid can find another liar.
I want that stricken from the record.
How else is she gonna learn if she doesn't have a feather?
I can go fuck in the big house.
You're a mess, girl. I am here to audition for Babysitters Club extras.
I brought my own hammer. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Well Behaved Women. I am one of your hosts, Hannah, and I am here with Lauren and our other host, Big B. And Lauren, as every week, she has a tale to tell, a yarn to spin about somebody, and we don't know who she is.
Got distracted watching.
That's okay. I do
Watching
it
Big
all
B
the
get up.
time. That's okay.
No, that's
No
fine.
worries.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? B, how are you?
Sorry, I just heard a weird
Oh,
noise.
that's okay. I was like, B. Oh, my camera wasn't on. Hello.
We went away.
Here's my face.
Hello, face.
Beautiful face.
Oh, thank you. You too.
All right, let's get started.
Let's get started.
On this year in history,
All right.
a meteor explodes over the Russian city of Chelyabinsk, injuring
Damn.
1,489 to 1,492 people
Oh shit.
and damaging
my
over 4,300 buildings.
Damn. What?
It is-
How? Whoa. Sorry. That
It is the
I was not
most
expecting.
powerful. It is the most powerful meteor to strike Earth's atmosphere in over a century. The incident, along with the coincidental flyby of a larger asteroid, prompts international concern regarding the vulnerability of the planet to meteor strikes.
That's got to be recent then.
No
Okay.
fucking shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
mm.
I don't
Ooh,
think
that
anybody.
was a close one.
Yeah.
Woo.
Big yikes.
Could you imagine that
big,
would have
big
been
yikes.
bigger? Big ol'
No.
hole.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Park Geun-hye becomes the first woman to become the president of South Korea.
Impressive.
And
Damn, girl.
the former CIA employee. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stop. Have you guys
Mm.
take a guess before we get there.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm gonna guess we're in this century. I'm gonna guess very recent. I'm gonna guess 2016.
Okay. B.
Of South Korea, huh?
Yeah.
Be like 2010.
Okay. Former CIA employee Edward Snowden discloses operations engaged in by a U.S. government mass surveillance program to
Alright,
news
so close.
publications and flees the country, later being granted temporary asylum in Russia.
Oh man, I really should have paid more attention to the Snowden stuff.
Do you want to narrow it down?
I'm gonna narrow it back. I'm gonna scale it back a little bit and say 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when all that was happening, where I was.
All right. Here's the last one, and it'll give it away. Barack
Okay.
Obama is sworn in for his second term as POTUS.
Oh, 2013.
Yep, there you go. That was a
Indeed.
good guess, 2012.
Hey, thank
was,
you.
it
I
was
was like, I
pretty
know I
close.
was in college.
Technically,
Yeah, that was the
according to
first time I
Price is
was
Right,
able to
you
vote.
still win.
Yeah. Oh, that was my first time voting too. I wasn't old enough for his first term.
Mm-hmm.
And a tiny group of women rangers formed a group called the Black Mambas.
Love it.
Okay, tell me more.
All right. So
This
this
is a
format,
great name, by the way.
no, it's fucking fantastic. So this format's going to be a little bit different today because we're talking about a group of people, and there's not a lot of information about the specific people to start with. So instead of kind of giving their background, I'm going to give you a little mini lesson on poaching. And of course, when I say mini, I mean I'm going to go pretty in depth.
Ooh,
Talk
okay.
about
So
eggs or exotic animals.
Yes, all of it. We're going to talk about the start of it and everything in between. So back a long time ago, there were fewer people and hunting game was fine. In ancient Germany, it was fine for anyone of any class to hunt, especially on communally owned land. That was pretty fairly common in Germany. They'd had their little towns, all community owned.
Yeah.
Roman law, however, only allowed rulers to hunt, introducing class warfare on food sources.
yeah, because that's what we need.
It's been going on forever. So the rich people started showing up and decided they wanted to like limit who could and who couldn't hunt and which people were going to be able to afford to. In medieval Europe, you've got feudal lords all the way to kings trying to limit which people can hunt and which people can fish and which people can't afford to do either.
Okay, so they need to start dividing up that communal land.
William the Conqueror, who ruled from 1028 to 1087, even established and enforced a system of forest law. It served to protect game animals and their forest habitats from hunting by the commoners. The commoners.
Those peasants.
Fucking plebes.
Yeah, plebes.
Poors. The poors.
Help me, I'm poor.
Another wonderful millennial movie.
Oh, yeah, I gotta rewatch it.
Love a good bridesmaid movie. I watched it at a very dark emotional point in my life, and it like rubbed me the wrong way, but now every time I watch it, I'm like, this is a fucking amazing movie.
I know. It's so well written.
So it served to protect the game animals and their forest habitats from hunting by commoners. So we start seeing people hunt in secret, which is what
Stealthy
people...
hunt.
Yeah, it's what people do when they can't afford to do anything else. When you can't afford something, but you still need it, you have to take the thing that you need.
Yeah, you still got to go get it.
Theft of large game ran the risk of getting you imprisoned, which was the punishment. Stealing livestock, the punishment wasn't really enforced until about the 16th century. And at that point, like kind of normies could hunt small game, and then the large prey was basically reserved for like the lords of the land.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm like, unless you see somebody do it, you can't prove it then. There's no way to...
Exactly. So by this time, guns existed, but the shots were super inaccurate, so you have to get as close as 100 feet away to make the shot.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
In the 17th and 18th century, private land ownership was expanding and laws were protecting private land more and more. Rich people employed people to be gamekeepers and foresters. These were people whose job it was literally to keep the wild game in and the humans out.
Oh.
It started to interrupt other things like farming practices. There was a lot of farmers and ranchers who had cattle that would feed in the forest. They would keep all of that underbrush growth low and kind of trim it up. So forests look very different now than they used to, where it was a lot of lush green grass at the bottom. Now we see a lot of like leaves and stuff and very little green, and it's not just that, but then the cattle are pooping in the forest, so there's fertilizing, and it's a whole it encouraged constant growth. It was just really good for the forests. But then farmers can't take their cattle there, so it just sat and rotted. But it's not just inconvenient in the world of animal herding or hunting. There's resin workers who would search through the land for different deposits and collect them to create pitch, tar, turpentine. These are all things that artists use and builders use, and like there's tons and tons of trades that are made from people who just walk the forest, and now all of them are being kept out. By this time, you can get rifles pretty cheap, so poor people were able to start stealing off of others' land. It was an easy job for a single guy, so you had a lot of single dudes just sneaking around all this land and hunting. Even Robin Hood, we've got in Prince of Thieves, he's depicted as a poacher, so they go into it briefly as one of the many ways that he was pissing off the Sheriff of Nottingham. And that's also how he gets in with the merry men, because he catches one of those kids trying to poach a deer off of his land.
All right. I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
So I just kind of figured
It's-
insert job title here. There's your character.
I mean, no, he's very famous for like you steal from the rich and give to the poor, and a lot of that is
yeah.
you know, poaching as well. Like
Mm,
if they need meat, how are they going to get meat? They need it.
true.
What started as a practice to just provide for one's family eventually became a way to capitalize on the skill of hunting, trading meat, selling it, all of that. And in the US, there's extensive anti-poaching efforts as well. We've got the oyster wars of the Chesapeake Bay, the 1891 anti-seal poaching operation. It's still there.
Do not poach seals. I will find you.
Do you want to hear the oyster war story?
I do want to hear the oyster war
It's kind of
story.
funny. It's really funny. So some of this is going to be quoted from Wikipedia for brevity.
Okay.
So the Chesapeake Bay is this huge estuary that today runs mostly inside of Maryland, but a lot of little inlets and channels go into Virginia and Delaware. Hella oysters in the Chesapeake.
Mm.
In the 1830s, Maryland decides to pass this law that said only residents of Maryland can hunt for oysters in those areas. They outlawed this thing called dredging, which is literally just dragging
Dragging a
soil.
net.
And in
Wow.
18
net, all kinds of things.
And in 1865, they stepped it up more and they said you have to have an annual membership to be able to hunt for oysters. In 1868, Maryland founded the Maryland Oyster Police Force, nicknamed the Oyster Navy, which was the predecessor of the modern Maryland Natural Resources Police.
I love that name, the Oyster Navy.
The Oyster Navy. And it was headed by the Naval Academy graduate Hunter Davidson.
Ooh, sexy name.
Hunter Davidson.
I don't know why that just came across as like
that reeks of like a frat boy who graduated with like a 1.9 GPA and is going to inherit his daddy's billions.
Well, I didn't have that view of Hunter Davidson, but
like
okay.
Oh, please share.
Oh, who I thought he was?
Yes, who do you think he is?
I don't know. I thought he's probably got some of a cocky attitude, but he comes from money. He went to school, got his degrees.
So same things I just said.
Yes, but like more dignified than you thought.
More dignified.
Shut up. Let's move on.
His GPA was higher.
Yeah, his GPA was higher. All right. He at least had a 2.75.
His internship wasn't paid. He did the unpaid internship.
Not at first.
And then he got offered the paid position.
Yeah.
He was able to volunteer all that time because he was a trust fund baby.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He's resting on his family's money. But I think we're diving too much
philanthropy
into
too if I didn't have bills to pay.
For real. For real.
All right. Well, what did this guy do?
So he was he headed up the oyster police, and they were responsible for enforcing the state's oyster harvesting laws, but it was an inadequate force to compete with the more heavily armed watermen, which are the pirates.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to quote straight from Wikipedia here. Virginia made its own attempts to fight illegal oystering. In the 1870s, Virginia imposed license fees, seasonal limits, and other measures to prevent overharvesting and preserve the oyster population. However, the cash-strapped Commonwealth had limited enforcement capabilities, especially after it sold its 3-vessel maritime police fleet at auction. After violence broke out between the oyster tongers, small individual small boat oystermen using handheld tongs to collect oysters, and more affluent oyster dredgers, Virginia banned oyster dredging in 1879.
Now, pause. Let's talk about this violence. Oyster violence?
Mm-hmm.
So they got violent over oyster.
Yeah.
Fishing?
Dredging. And
dredging,
and fishing on each other's land, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oysters were like a big deal.
I mean, I know clam chowder and oysters are very different. I don't know if I like oysters all that much. I like mussels and clams.
I love oysters. I think they're goddamn delicious.
Love a good oyster.
Now, what is it about the oyster that you love so much? Because I'm trying. How do you?
I love
eat
all
them?
seafood, but
I do too.
There was so when I lived in St. Louis, there is a place that I love going to called the Broadway Oyster Bar. It was right down the street from Busch Stadium where the Cardinals play.
A really good happy hour menu.
Everything, dude. They had local beers.
I love a
tap.
happy hour.
It was Cajun food. It was fucking awesome. and their oysters
Nice.
were amazing.
I love oysters raw. I love them with
Same.
their little sauce.
Fried.
I was gonna say, have you had baked oysters?
Yep.
Oh, I love a good
They
baked
had 'em
oyster.
I would definitely try a baked oyster.
They
I
had, like, a
cannot
Parmesan
handle the
truffle one
slimes
Yes!
that
of
was
raw.
baked. It
Yes,
was
the
so
Parmesan
good.
truffle oyster is
Fucking phenomenal. They had like crawfish. They had.
Can
I
we
forget
go to
what
New
day it
Orleans,
was, but they would
please?
they would
Can
do
we
like
please,
a bucket
please
of
go?
crawfish, like all you could eat whole crawfish. You had to shell them yourself.
Love it.
Did they bring
Yeah.
it to you in bags?
It was in a big bucket,
Yeah, okay.
and then
I
they
mean, I
gave us
love
like
most
another
seafood,
like tray to put our scraps and stuff on.
Oh my God.
was
I love
awesome.
it. I love a good seafood boil because
Fuck the hood.
you just make a mess and you're sitting there for hours and then you're like, everything's ruined. It smells like
Crab,
fish forever.
lobster. There was
Oh
a
my
few years.
God.
Actually, when I lived in St. Louis, I lived next to like a really nice like little market.
Mhm.
So for every year for my birthday, when I lived there, I'd make myself like a steak and lobster tail. That was awesome.
Nice.
Now I will preface: oysters are like the one seafood I'm not really a big fan of.
How many
I
times
love
Is
have
it
you
because
had-
it's eaten raw usually?
Yeah, I think it's only raw I've ever had, and after that, I was like, nah, I can't.
If you like other seafood, you probably like them cooked.
Yeah.
I'll try it baked. I'll do it baked, maybe fried. I could do a
Yeah,
little
baked
fried.
or fried. And
Yeah.
usually with the sauce helps.
The sauce is definitely going to be necessary, but I will do it again.
I'll tell you what though, when we were in Hawaii, I had some of the best fried calamari I've ever had.
Oh, I bet.
And
I
they're
bet.
fucking huge.
One of my
That's that. See,
favorite
I don't like a
things is
tiny calamari.
One of my
Like a
favorite
big-
things is like a good grilled octopus.
Mhm.
I can't eat octopus anymore, but I do think they're tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also-
I love them too much. I can't now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
dredging's outlawed.
Okay. Oh, just entirely. They're like, all right, stop fighting about it. I'm done.
Yeah, we done with it.
Yeah, Virginia and Maryland are now in agreement. Dredging is just gone from the Chesapeake.
They'll find a way.
And
Well, it's because they fucking wiped them out.
Oh.
so when armed and organized dredger, many from Maryland, violated the ban, Virginia Governor William E. Cameron found an opportunity to boost his popularity by taking on the pirates. Cameron he personally led an expedition against the illegal dredgers. On February 17th, 1882, Cameron's force, consisting of the tugboat Victoria J. Peed and the freighter Louisa, engaged pirates at the mouth of the Rappahannock River. The governor's raid resulted in the successful convictions of 41 dredgers and the forfeiture of 7 boats. The raid represented a high point for the governor's term. When Cameron's popularity sank and dredgers returned to the bay, the governor undertook a second expedition. Cameron once again used the Peed, but the steamer Pamlico became his flagship. His second expedition was not very successful. Captured dredgers were acquitted or escaped indictment in court. The opposition press also mocked the governor for failing to capture the Dancing Molly, a sloop run by 3 women who managed to outrun the governor's ships. The
Nice.
Norfolk,
Dancing Molly.
Dancing Molly.
Is she
The
on Molly while she dancing?
Probably.
Okay.
Good
All right.
chance.
That's
The
a fun
Norfolk-
expedition.
The Norfolk Academy of Music lampooned the governor's expedition in April 1883 comic opera Driven from the Seas, or The Pirate's Dredger's Doom.
I would love to hear this comedy opera. Comic opera.
In 1884, Come Opera.
Yeah.
You should hear more of those. I think Jason Segel could probably write them.
Oh,
He
sounds
could.
Perfect. He wrote a vampire one. Let's do it.
Yeah, he
He
did.
did.
In 1884, Cameron established the Board on the Chesapeake and its tributaries, which led to improved law enforcement and better fishery management.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then we have the poaching in Africa.
Poaching in Africa.
So things are even more intense in the continent of Africa. The exotic animals there attract hunters from all around the globe.
Elephants, rhinos, hippos, you name it.
Yeah. Some of these elements make elements that make their meat and other body parts extremely
We're going to
valuable.
talk about the ivory trade.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's where we're going.
Rhino horn is extremely valuable. Pangolin scales.
An
ivory.
aphrodisiac, some say.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Huge.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's like powdered at it. It's a whole thing.
Futurama did a great episode about that.
The noses. Human
Yep.
horn.
Human horn.
Human
what?
horn.
The lure from Omicron Persei 8. He came down and abducted Fry and took his nose, thinking that was his penis.
Yeah, it's
like it.
you said, what was his name? Lure of the planet
Omicron Persei 8. Yeah.
8. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then eventually they're like, all right, harness his lower horn.
Yeah. It's like, don't take my wiener.
But yes, all right. So there's a big boom in ivory poaching.
Huge boom in ivory poaching, huge boom in just killing of all of these huge exotic animals, because not only is it a way to make a massive amount of money, but a lot of it is status symbol. So this creates a massive underground market. You've got companies who want to buy the pangolin scales, but they won't ask too many questions about where they're from or how the seller gets them. For this discrepancy and privacy, they pay a hefty sum.
Pangolins are the number one traffic animal in the world still.
That's why I used as an example. Yeah, it's really bad. It's horrible. In many parts of the world, poaching has also been misapplied before. So in most areas of the world, remember how, if maybe things weren't like super good, they might have been in a stasis of relative peace and sustained community cooperation. And then like the white people showed up and ruined it all.
Yeah, well, they tend to do that.
They didn't always come in at times of peace, but usually it was just like, all right, you guys are
how
good.
can we take advantage?
Not the fuck anymore. So the white people showed up. Yeah. They showed up and then they started to put rules on shit. Some traditional tribal subsistence techniques of indigenous people have been labeled as criminal poaching. Wildlife-only zones got established, which cut into tribal land and barred them from hunting. You've probably heard some of this. So the Kalahari Bushman Game Reserve.
Yeah.
So these are the oldest tribes in southern Africa, known as hunter-gatherers for tens of thousands of years in that area. The game reserve was created specifically to protect this land, the ancestral home of these people, and the game that they had sustainably hunted for tens of thousands of years.
Yeah, like pretty much for the duration of humanity.
Just to make sure that these people can live the same way that they've been living for tens of thousands of years.
Literal eons.
And then in the 1980s, someone had to go and discover diamonds there.
Oh, God.
Soon enough, the government ministers went in there and said, hey, sorry, sad story, but you guys gotta leave. Diamonds being as valuable as they are, you understand, I'm sure. Yep. So quoting directly from the Survival International.
In 3 big clearances in 1997, 2002, and 2005, virtually all the Bushmen were forced out. Their homes were dismantled, their school and health posts were closed, the water supply was destroyed, and the people were threatened and trucked away. Those who have not returned to the reserve now live in resettlement camps outside the reserve. Rarely able to hunt and arrested and beaten when they do, they are dependent on government handouts. Many are now gripped by alcoholism, depression, and illnesses such as TB and HIV and AIDS.
Oh my God.
Does this sound familiar at all to you guys?
It does. That sounds like something that the American government has done to the indigenous people of North America.
Also the Germans, all kinds of people.
Yeah. All kinds of people. It's a tale as old as time.
Camps or something for some reason. I don't know what it is about camps.
It's because they're sold as this bastion of freedom, charity, and reservation. Like reservation is, this land is reserved for you. It's going to be great. And instead it's, you are now relegated to this. Is your prison cell.
Great.
But it was not great. They're now relegated to this very large prison cell for the rest of their lives because that's now all they can have.
Oh my God, they can't eat the way they normally do.
Yeah. So game hunting, there's obviously several motives for why people still poach. We have, they claim the traditional right to hunt. Obviously commercial gain, home consumption, like they're I'm going to kill a deer to have meat in my freezer. You and I have talked about this before, game hunting for like actually
Funny.
eating the meat.
I'm going on a bear hunt next May.
Oh, I love bear meat. It's great. That and
It'll be
moose.
sweet.
Like I
Can't
love a
wait to
good
go to
moose
Canada.
lasagna. Yeah. Lack of employment opportunities in certain areas of the nation. In some places, that's pretty much the only thing you do because that's the only thing you're around. Limited potential for agriculture or livestock production. If these things are still in the area, I can't grow my livestock. Bushmeat sales in cash attract huge urban prices. Traditional medicinal ceremonies need certain body parts from certain animals.
Okay.
This is all over the world. And a lot of it gets sourced from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
The existence of the international market means that gangs have been created for the organization of large-scale scouting and poaching. They can identify vulnerable areas of a game reserve and pick out targets. The syndicates that they're a part of then organize the transport of meat and body parts where they're being sold. They deal with the logistics. A lot of armed conflict in Africa has been linked to intensified poaching. This disrupts natural habitats for the animals, food sources. It creates a larger food desert for the locals, and it increases desperation for local families.
Oh God, yeah. Food deserts are no joke.
And the more there's conflict in Africa, the more desperate people are going to get, the worse it's going to get. It goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it's a rapid decline from there.
The closer a family lives to these game reserves, the more likely they are to consuming bush meat. Do you guys know what this looks like?
I do not.
It's gross, but I'm going to look it up for you anyway.
Okay. Thank you. I like context, but I might regret that.
One of the things that a lot of those countries are going through right now is like the way conservation works is that people donate money to conservation, and it generally goes towards, when I say
marketing.
Donate, it's it's usually in the form of like it's like trophy hunting in Africa in particular.
Okay.
Where basically like people will pay thousands of dollars to go hunt like trophy animals like an elephant or a lion or a giraffe.
Yes, experiences.
Yeah, and it can cost upwards of $10,000 depending on the animal, and it's not including your travel and all that other stuff. But usually what ends up happening is then the meat goes towards the villagers that are in that area, which is great for them. But without that, when you start to outlaw it, then the money that comes from hunting that animal goes towards keeping the poachers out.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part. In those areas.
I see.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. Like it's not awesome the idea of hunting an animal like that, but it does kind of keep those areas protected at the same time. If you limit the number, you're able to.
Yeah, I was gonna say it needs to be balanced.
Like the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Poaching one instead of poaching a dozen because one person is going to pay you a lot more. Anyway, this is bushmeat. It's
I was going to say, what are we looking at?
It's kind of the same argument as like the drug war, right? If you outlaw it, then the drug dealers just win, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is all called bushmeat. So this is they are they take it back to their areas, they dry it out, they marinate it, they it kind of turns into
jerky.
Like this dried jerky. Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long-standing method of preservation.
Yeah, that's what lasts.
Yeah, that's what lasts. That's why jerky is so valuable at times.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's good for a road trip. That's a very mild case of why jerky is
food preservation.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's how people basically kept meat around up until the 1920s when refrigerators were invented.
Yeah, I really need to get a dehydrator because I could definitely make my own dried fruit if I do that. So sorry, that was an ADHD thought out loud. My bad.
This whole show is an ADHD conversation happening.
We all know it.
Our tangents go on tangents. So
all right.
The closer a family lives to the game reserves, the more likely they are to consuming bushmeat. It's an act of desperation most of the time because there's food deserts. There's no other food sources, especially if they're not allowed to fish. So like in the middle of the fucking continent, this is very common and it does not look appetizing. I would not want to eat any of this. Poachers figured out that they could be strategic about when in the year that they could most easily poach. This is the season just before an agricultural harvest, when there isn't really much agricultural work to be done. You're just waiting for it all to finish growing. And then
places to hide.
It gives you places to hide, and it's like you don't have anybody out there watching it. It's just land that you're like, all right, let it sit, be patient.
Yeah.
And then they also go during heavy rain seasons because the mud and the water obscures the trails, so they can get in and out much easier. Poverty serves as a huge impetus for poaching, but just as much it's the desire for luxury items that are in demand, or representative of extreme wealth like ivory. So in China, that's a huge, huge thing. They see that as a status symbol of having ivory in their home, and it's this classical Chinese thing. And so new money still pays.
Ivory is beautiful. I don't know how to.
It is. It really is.
There's no other way to say it. If you've ever seen like Inuit carvings, like it doesn't make any sense. How beautiful. Whalebone is the same thing. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's extremely detailed, and exactly. So all of this is the established world into which we enter for our tale of the women today. Poaching had been defined back in the 1980s as pretty much what it is now, and legislation around the world has taken time to take effect, including in South Africa, a nation known for its extensive wildlife reserves and beautiful scenery. But in 2013, poaching was a huge issue at many of these nature reserves. There were rangers, but there just weren't enough to completely stop the theft of game. Large game, especially rhinos, were in extreme danger of being hunted to extinction because they just couldn't catch everyone. It's like a Pokemon. You can't catch them all.
Can't catch them all.
You want to catch them all, but you just can't.
Even Ash couldn't catch them all.
Like a murdering hydra. So this was particularly an issue at a place called the Oliphants West region of the Balule Nature Reserve, which is part of a larger park called Greater Kruger National Park. The warden of the Oliphants Private Nature Reserve is a white man named Craig Spencer, and a woman
super white.
Yes. And a woman named Amy Clark, who works with Transfrontier Africa, they worked together on this new idea. Also a white woman.
Yeah.
They worked together on this new, wonderful, crazy idea. So what if, in addition to the armed rangers that traverse the land, there were more people to help as a discouragement to poachers? They formed the Black Mamba Anti-Poaching Unit.
Hell yes. Great name. Still, just... That's like one of the most dangerous snakes. So excellent name.
Exactly. It was the world's first officially formed, registered, and recognized all-female wildlife ranger unit. This is quoted directly from Transfrontier Africa. The Black Mamba APU was a concept designed to address an emerging problem in 2013 when rhino poachers targeted the Balule landscape. Balule is a protected area of 56,000 hectares and is open to the Kruger National Park, with 136 kilometers of the park's western boundary under its direct management.
So much land.
It's so much land.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how long. Okay, is
56,000
kilometers. All right, how big is a hectare?
Right.
I'm trying to think. It's like a number. It's like 100 acres.
I think
that
so,
makes maybe.
No, it's 2.5. 2.47. So for every hectare, there's almost 2.5.
Okay. Still lots.
Yeah. So let's see, what, 6,000. So that's 138,379 acres.
Sure.
Damn.
What was it?
Damn.
165 kilometers.
I'm trying to picture it in my head. I'm just sitting here going, I'm gonna get lost.
136 kilometers. Let's see. Which is 84.5 miles. So the Black Mambas recruited girls right out of high school, and there were only 6 members to start. There was a little bit of skepticism, needless to say, about the idea that girls could do a boy job.
Oh, how could she?
It was physically demanding. She can't. It was physically demanding. It required discipline and silence, so surely women couldn't do that.
Oh, like we don't know discipline and silence. I don't know silence, but I know
You
a
know
bit
shit.
of discipline.
You don't know fuck all.
You know, I don't know shit about fuck.
I don't know fuck about shit.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa. That's a new level of ignorance.
Better be careful.
I know. I should watch out.
They were trained like the other Rangers. They learned combat, how to handle arms, and tracking skills. Though they knew how to use the arms, this group of women were, as a standard, unarmed.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So they're against poachers. I don't know if I'd be okay without having like a gun on me or something. They probably do.
I mean, you kind of have to get used to it. But they didn't have weapons. They were like, we can use them, but mostly he'll get into it. So from The Guardian, here's B.
Sorry.
First and most obviously, the women who are members of the Black Mambas do not have decision-making power. All of their superiors are white. The Mambas understand the importance of their role, but the women lament the grueling hours and the fact that they are unarmed.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, while the media tends to demonize poachers, the Black Mambas have a more nuanced, locally informed view. With the influx of tourism and the lack of job prospects, men are often reduced to killing animals in the reserve, either for food or for money.
Because, like, how else are they going to survive?
Exactly.
Right.
Every morning they had a military-style parade before they got started for the day, and orders were newly issued every day. Their mission was to serve as, quote, a visible police presence like a British bobby.
Oh, the UK police with the little bowl hat,
A constable.
and the Billy Club.
Yeah, Billy Club.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Constable. That's what the name is.
Bobby and Billy.
Oh, Constable. The Constabobby.
Constable.
Kind of sounds like Bobby's constipated. I'm just going to move on from that.
Well, maybe he is. I don't know.
That's not my business.
Yeah, I don't want to know either.
Mm-mm.
It just makes me think of like a Bobby that is constant. So he's just in a perpetual state of
He's always
bobbiness.
Bobby.
Yeah, constant.
He'll always be Bobby.
Forever, Bobby.
Forever Bobby.
Forever Bobby.
Viva la Bobby.
Viva la Bobby! Okay, so there are police presence visibly only.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to dress you up like a police Barbie. Police Babs.
Crotchless. Nice.
Oh, I wasn't good. Oh, I didn't go there. My bad.
All right.
Should I read it?
Yeah, I got it. There you go.
Okay. The Mambas walk 20 kilometers every day, checking the perimeter fences for the signs of incursions. Unarmed, the Mambas are backed up by the armed patrol units if signs of poaching activity is discovered. So they have to see something first, then call for backup.
You see something, say something.
If
True,
you
but
see
there's
something,
like-
say something. Come out and party tonight.
Oh, what a
I
classic.
am not aware of this.
it's so catchy. It's so catchy.
It's a Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's great.
Oh, I don't think I've gotten to that point in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I forgot I love that show and I gotta go watch
Captain
it.
Jason.
That's one of those shows. Yes, Captain Jason Stentley. He that's one of those shows that like I could just turn on any episode, any season, and be.
We were just watching it last night or the night before.
I was watching it literally before we started this meeting. So yeah,
We were watching I Think You Should Leave on Netflix. Have you seen that?
No, is that good?
It's so funny.
it's so funny.
Oh, I gotta see this.
It's so stupid. It is a collection of like little skits, and
they're all centered around like hyper awkward moments.
yeah,
All right.
one
So,
of my
like, some
favorites.
of them are more awkward than funny, and some of them are just goddamn hilarious.
One of my favorites is from the first season where he's like, you flinch, now you have to marry your mother-in-law. And they're like, what? He goes, yeah, that's the rule. That's the rule is he flipped the bottle and you flinched. And so now you have to marry your mother-in-law legally. You flinch.
So stupid.
I gotta watch it then to figure out how
Who's
this
the
makes
most
sense.
popular now?
What?
So fucking stupid.
Yeah. Did you see the one where he's in the hot dog costume and he crashes the hot dog car into the suit store? Like, whoever did this should just step forward now. We won't punish you.
I just thought I might pay it forward, see if I might be able to make a chain of paying it forward. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, you have a nice day. 55 hot dogs, 55 hamburgers, 55 fries, 55.
There's
Hannah,
those
you
you've
gotta
probably
catch up.
seen the memes of
Okay.
them on TikTok or Instagram. I'm sure.
Okay.
I didn't do fucking shit. I didn't do that.
I'm
not
gonna have
paying
to
for that.
watch this.
It's great.
All
It
right,
is
I might do
fantastic.
that like right after we're done.
Another one.
There's 3 seasons on Netflix and there's 6 episodes each.
And they're very short.
Okay, easy.
So super
Yeah, they're
easy.
like half-hour piece.
If you like obscure weird things, I also would highly suggest Brad Neely's Hargnolan Sclopio PPO.
You might have to text that to
Yeah,
me.
I'll text it to you.
Is that even English?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
English and it's amazing. It's pretty funny.
All right.
It's like, think of Robot Chicken but animated,
Yeah.
but cartoons.
Okay.
And all of the little skits have like nothing to do with each other. But they'll have like each episode's like 10 minutes and it'll have, Kristen Shaw guests on
Oh, I
one
love
of
her.
them. Andre 3000 is on a different
Obviously.
one. There's a
Beautiful.
bunch of like cool people that just kind of come on and tell stories and shit. And then
It's
this guy
animated?
animates them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
might
my
have-
kind of
You might
thing.
have heard of this guy. Did you ever watch the show Chicago?
Yeah.
No.
The cartoon Chicago?
Mhm.
Nope.
Yeah, so that's also Brad Neely. So it's hit.
Yeah, okay.
This was just a 2016 little blip that he did, and it's one season and it's fucking nothing, but it's so funny.
All right.
Anyway,
I will definitely have to check that out. So you say it was Time to Leave is the name?
I think you should leave. Is from
Oh, I
Netflix.
think you should
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so they're walking 20 kilometers every day. They're checking the perimeter fences. In the first year after forming, they reduced poaching by 62% in that area.
Hell yeah.
Every ranger worked.
excellent.
Yeah, it's amazing. Every ranger worked 21 days a month, rotating through. They arrested poachers,
Damn.
like a lot of poachers. They shut down 5 poaching camps and they reduced snaring. They're trained to find and remove snares before the animals are trapped. They cover an area of around 400 square kilometers,
Mhm.
although estimates of their range of influence varies greatly, and I suspect has definitely grown since the inception of the group.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sure of that.
I'm going to try and do my very best to pronounce these names.
Okay. Good luck.
Don't get canceled.
I'm
your
actually. Oh, Hannah, this is coming to you, but
Oh, shit.
I've got to tell who it's by. So
Okay. No. All right. Well, I'm
Don't
gonna
get canceled.
put some of that. Yeah, I was like, oh crap, that's me now.
all right. According to Black Mamba Nekateko Mzimba,
All right. I'm just double checking what words I might have to say. We're good so far. Okay.
Nothing difficult. The name was
We're
the
good
most
so far.
difficult part.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. We're the eyes and ears of the bush. We patrol the boundary of the reserve at dawn on foot and by vehicle at dusk, collecting snares and keeping watch for intruders. We don't carry guns, just pepper spray, because our job is to gather intelligence and act as a long-term deterrent. This leaves the armed rangers free to concentrate on guarding the animals inside the reserve. If we detect an intruder, we call for backup. Okay, so they're more of like the scouts position.
Yeah.
And kind of the long-term like defense, trying to keep things out.
It's deterrent by presence. So
There
just
you go.
showing up and being seen, engaging with all of the public. Hey, how are you today? What's up?
Mhm.
Because the more you can keep people.
We have
engaged.
eyes. We can see you. I literally am looking at you right now.
Right now. Yep.
Beware.
In this interview with National Geographic, Nkateko was asked what strengths women bring to the job. Her answer, Women are primary caregivers who are good at building relationships and keeping secrets. Gathering intelligence is an important part of our work. I think women have more self-control. When men are off duty, relaxing with their friends, they can be tempted to talk too much and say things they shouldn't. A
True.
ranger needs to be physically strong, but they also need mental strength.
Little sass there in the most intelligent way. I love it.
I know.
She's just like, hint, hint, we're better at this.
Yes.
Sorry.
Keep your fucking mouth shut when you're 4 beers in, bragging to your buddies. Stop doing that.
You guys
Sorry,
are
not
just
sorry.
plain stupid.
Yeah.
These women have been underestimated over and over again, but now they're the village heroes for the places that they came from. Not only do they do all this work to keep the animals alive, they educate local school children as part of an effort called the Bush Babies Environmental Program.
Oh my God, what a cute name. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fucking adorable. So these kids have little weekly lessons from the Black Mambas who will go to their schools or have them come over to the area, and they teach the children aspects of conservation at every level of skill. If they're learning the alphabet, they learn A is for ant and E is for elephant. And then physical characteristics as they get a little bit older. And then when the older, and then when you can understand that kind of thing, they start introducing the idea of ecology and land conservation, because by that time they can understand what's happening. It's very cool. And it's a really cool program.
We need that here in America. ASAP. News bulletin.
News bulletin.
It's the news.
Breaking news. Elsewhere in conservation. The year is 2015.
All right.
So it's 2 years following the founding of this group, and the UN introduces the Sustainable Development Goals. Do you guys remember this at all?
No.
All right, so there's 17 of these fuckers. Sustainable Development Goal 15 deals with life on land. The text reads, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. The goal has 12 targets to hit by 2030, and this is an international cooperation sort of thing. But 15.7 and 15.c inside of that one both deal with halting and stopping altogether the poaching of protected wildlife. That same year, the Mambas had a 10-month streak where they didn't lose a single rhino to poaching.
Hey, 10 months.
10 months.
Oh, they were so close to a year, and some fucker ruined their streak.
That's okay, because 10 months is 10 months.
It's still great.
That same year, they were awarded with the title of Champions of the Earth. It was a United Nations top environmental honor. It was like winning a Pulitzer or Nobel.
Yeah, that sounds like the best title ever, and they deserve it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a hard job, and it's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
True.
All right. So this is a quote from Black Mamba Kute Mahulongo.
When we're walking, there's always a chance we'll meet an elephant, lion, or buffalo. Poachers are even more dangerous because they carry weapons and we don't. During our training, we learned how to hide and escape danger.
They're just as good as running away from the people as they are at, confronting.
I wonder what some of those methods are.
I'm sure they wear camouflage.
Well, yeah, that seems smart.
And I'm sure they have a pretty good idea of like where, havens, I guess, little hiding areas would be around the reserve.
You'd think so.
Another one, another Black Mamba, and I really am going to apologize. I'm going to try this one. Sipiwe Sitole. Siphiwe Sithole. Sipiwe Sitole, I think.
That's cool.
She said, I don't know when I'm going to face a lion. Like, just straight up, one day I could walk into a fucking lion.
That is true.
I don't like those job hazards very much for me personally. Thank you, ma'am, for taking on the mantle. I couldn't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not brave enough.
I mean, I'm glad we don't have lions here. I mean, we have different lions.
We got cougars. They, when you're going on a hike, you got to be careful, but they're much smaller.
Yeah, well, and there's also a lot less poaching of those going on here.
No.
Yeah.
So this group has grown in the last few years. It had 6 original rangers, and now there's something like 40, and 35 of those are women. This is now a position that girls can look to as a real career move, and the group is still actively recruiting out of high school. They were originally financed by the government, but that stopped, so the group had to start relying on grants and fundraising. They formed the Black Mamba Alliance, and they cooperate with other conservation groups in the area. Katie Jackson of the New York Post went on a day with the Mambas and wrote about her experience. This is all from Katie's experience.
The team I'm with has had a busy morning. After inspecting the park fence, which poachers cut and crawl through, they found 9 snares capable of trapping everything from antelope to elephants. Poachers finish off their catch with leftover rifles from the Civil War Poachers finish off their catch with leftover rifles from the Civil War and neighboring Mozambique. Black rhino horn is the black market holy grail. Believing it can cure cancer, Chinese buyers shell out up to $300,000. Oh, shit. That is...
Mm-hmm.
We're talking serious cash.
Yeah.
I mean, serious money.
Big reward. Very, very highly coveted. So it's probably highly poached.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn.
She also said
I don't know how they think.
You don't know how they think what?
It cures cancer, but I guess it's because I don't know much about
exactly.
that. That house of medicine is very different.
I mean, it's like avocado cures cancer. I mean, it doesn't.
It's
I had somebody tell me once, bunk science.
Yeah, somebody once told me when my grandmother got cancer, I told a friend of mine, I can't remember his name, but he said something about apricots, like just eat a ton of apricots. It's like proven. And I'm
Sounds like something his grandma told him.
Yeah, it could have been. And
she probably had a bunch of extra apricots, and she was like, you know what this is?
He's trying to unload his apricots on you. In fact, I have a whole truck.
He's an apricot salesman. Yeah. He's trying to reach quota, and here you are, just
all for the low price of $99.99.
You can even break that up into 3 easy payments of
$300,000.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just sign over your 401k and we're ready.
And it's gone.
And it's gone.
They'll never see it coming. All right. So she goes on to say,
we're performing a sweep, looking for cigarette butts, footprints, and other evidence poachers are active in the area. Another Mamba unit is at the park gate, inspecting every vehicle that leaves. Their trained canines can detect firearms and animal parts. The poachers use dogs too, though. Asked if they're like the soldiers, Spencer's intimidating Belgian Malinois I'm afraid to make eye contact with. A Mamba laughs and says, no, they have village dogs. They cannot afford the European dogs.
Oh.
They got mutts. We got
They've got village dogs.
Yeah, they have like coy dogs and shit. Bush dogs.
Damn.
Have you seen how scrawny those things are?
Yeah.
They scrawny.
Which ones are scrawny?
Bush
dogs.
Belgian
Malinois? Oh, no. Bush dogs. No.
The Belgian Malinois.
Seen.
Yeah, hold on.
Those are.
I was like, thank you. I need to see what you're talking about. You're just talking about like the strays that live in the village.
Yeah, we're talking about most of the poachers had strays. This is what a Malinois looks like.
Okay, yeah, like an offshoot of a German Shepherd in my mind.
Yeah,
it's a Belgian Shepherd.
Oh, that one's cocking his head. How cute!
He's a little cute.
That's not the dog this lady saw, though. I'm sure.
No,
no, she won't even make eye contact with this dog. He has a badge and a gun.
Yep. This goes on for a bit. She had some pretty good information, so I pull from this quite a bit.
Love it.
Right. So desperation being an impetus for poaching picked up again by a lot during the pandemic. The group is still going and it empowers Africa. And Empowers Africa, which is a company, it's like a nonprofit, released this statement when they announced a $5,500 grant in support of the group.
The Black Mamba APU operates on 3 different planes. Level 1 entails routine procedures, including foot patrols, observation, vehicle checks, and roadblocks. Level 2 is comprised of armed guards who protect the borders of Balul. Is that how you say that? Balule, and an additional armed unit that is deployed into high-risk areas. Level 3 is a senior management team in charge of operations, deployment strategies, and organizing on-the-ground patrol units. Black Mambas are recruited from disadvantaged villages as part of the Extended Public Works Program, a social upliftment program working to address unemployment and promote skills development in South Africa. Although Sand Parks accommodates the Rangers, Transfrontier Africa is responsible for all other costs, including salaries, uniforms, equipment, and transport for supervisors. All right, so there's like 3 different budgets, essentially. Okay.
There's 3 different levels with that go along with that grant, but it pays for 3 different types of work. So there's the gates, there's the armed, and then there's, what is it? Senior management team. So obviously management's got to get their cut.
Of course, because management.
Make that money.
Because we tell other people what to do, we should make more.
Yeah. So the group still deals with everyday challenges. They are still run by white people. They still have financing issues and are run entirely by no nations. They still garden, and then they sell the vegetables that they grow. The team uses this beat up truck to move around the reserve, and they're challenged every single day. But Leita Macabella perhaps stated it best when she said, quote, "I am not afraid. I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it."
Yes. I mean, it's great to have people like that are in those positions, but we also want to make sure that they have enough safe equipment. You know, a beat up van, especially when you have a lion nearby. There's not always doesn't that stuff that's really dangerous.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here thinking like,
it's kind of, that's what? Part of the issue with the poor amount of funding is that they can't.
Yeah, they can't upkeep all the maintenance.
Yeah, exactly. If they run out of something, they don't exactly just have the money to pick it back up.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am, for doing what you do again. She can't hear me. I know she can't hear me, but I'm putting it out in the universe. Thank you.
Right. That's the Black Mambas. That's their tale.
Oh, they're badass.
Yeah. And they're still in existence. If you are in a position to where you have the money and the funds to donate to different organizations, Transfrontier Africa and Empowers Africa, I think, are both things that you can donate to that get there. And I think you can donate by Googling Black Mambas APU, and they have their own website as well. So if you find yourself in a position where you can do that, go for it.
I'm going to find a website real quick. Donate.
I'm a poor, so.
The poors.
I am with you. I am also one of the plebes.
Speaking of plebes, how would everyone feel about doing a Patreon? We're thinking of bringing that into.
What a segue. Speaking of plebes and helping the poor, help us.
Let us know how you feel in the comments.
But I mean, we would love to have, if you would love to join our Patreon, we will get one set up very soon. And we will get you more information when that comes.
And in the meantime, sure. We're going to just release these silly YouTube things. And yeah.
You said it was Empowers Africa?
Possibly,
that's where they got the grant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Sponsors and partners, Transfrontier Africa. For the Black Mamba Alliance, it'll be Transfrontier Africa. So TransFrontier Africa. I realized I probably didn't need to spell that all out. So transfrontierafrica.org. And then under sponsors and partners, you will find the Black Mambas Alliance. And they have a way for you to support right there on their website.
Nice.
All right. Thanks for letting me spell. Okay. Oh, I got to do the outro.
Oh, yeah, we're still part of a show.
I forgot about that. Well, thank you so much for listening and learning about the Black Mambas with us today. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to our website at wellbehavedwomenpodcast.com. You can find us on Reddit, Well-Behaved Women. You can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page for Well-Behaved Women. You can find us on Instagram, Well-Behaved Women Podcast. And on Twitter, we are still the letter, Behaved Women Podcast. Did I get them all?
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Man, you nailed it.
God. That was the first time I did it in one take without assistance. Thank you.
Podcast gods.
Repetition.
Yes, eventually I'll be able to do that in my sleep. We're working on it.
It happens. I don't think
It
you should
does.
have to get like really good at intros or outros. That's not like a normal part of life. So being awkward at it once or twice a week
It's endearing.
is fine.
It's cute. Am I
Look how cute I am doing this thing wrong.
I'm doing this little I think it's the Shirley Temple. I think that's where that comes from. Maybe. Who knows? Well, anyway, thank you everybody for listening to another episode, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Say bye-bye, guys. It's like I'm the only one.
Adios.